why he hasn't played much. As you can see, this is only, you know, he hasn't played much in 94 so far. He had a terrible time of it last year, 93. And it's been a rough go for him, but I honestly think he's sort of finding his way back. I think he had lost his focus a little bit, you know, his reasons for playing, and he said that. He was putting too much pressure on himself, and now he just realizes that when he plays his very best tennis, he's thinking about his tennis and not necessarily about winning. In the last couple of weeks, David Wheaton has been playing great. He won a grass court tournament a couple of weeks ago in Newport, got himself to the semis of Washington last week, and he's playing well this week. And keep in mind, he's got a winning record over Andre Agassi. Not too many guys can say that. And they both kind of like this surface, so I think you'll find an interesting matchup today. Andre Agassi, the number 8 seed here, and David Wheaton, both of the USA. Our coverage of today's Canadian Open Tennis Championships being brought to you by IBM. There's never been a better time to do business with IBM, and by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. So it's Andre Agassi to take on David Wheaton's best of 3, round of 16. It's live coverage, and it's right here on ESPN. Live coverage of this Players Limited International Canadian Open. This is the center court. It is Andre Agassi taking on David Wheaton at the National Tennis Center here. They are in the final stages of their warm-up. There's a look at David Wheaton, who relies so heavily on his serve. Now, as we were saying, these last couple of years, he hasn't played that well. Well, after he warmed up this morning, Mary Carrillo caught up with him and said to him simply, why? What's happened lately? David, we got to catch up with you a little bit, because you've been in and out for the last couple of years with injuries and everything else. Can you, is there an easy way to explain what's happened to you in the last couple of years, say since the end of 91? No, I don't think there's an easy way to explain it. I mean, I think I've gone through a lot of ups and downs in my life, and not only in tennis, but in kind of every different area. And, you know, I've been able to kind of see the fulfilling things and the unfulfilling things in life, and that's what's been difficult to get through. You had about 5 months off with bad hips. And in that time, I've heard you say that it gave you a new perspective on your career. Had you lost your way a little bit? What do you mean when you say something like that? Well, I think that before I didn't really have a very clear-cut motivation for playing. 1 minute. And it seems that during that time, I'm beginning to learn that how important, I guess, my faith is to me, and how other things that maybe I played for in the past, such as, you know, money or winning titles or stuff like that, isn't quite as or isn't fulfilling for me personally, but it goes back more to my faith. I think that's really the thing I'm trying to learn now, and it's been a struggle because it's kind of changing my whole perspective on it, and that's going to take some time. It may take, you know, another couple of years for me to do it, but I think I'm just at the beginning of the road now. You've changed your serve, I mean, and obviously against someone like Andre Agassi, that's absolutely vital. What made you change your serve, and how difficult is it to change something as fundamental to your game? Actually, I changed my serve after Wimbledon last year. I went to a little lower toss, but I feel like only now I'm kind of starting to get my serve in a little more consistently. You know, before I had a good serve, but kind of match to match, it was kind of go off and on. But now it seems like I'm able to be a little more consistent match to match on my serve. And the serve is obviously important for my game, and obviously against Andre it's really important. So, you know, hopefully I can have a good serving consistency-wise today, and we'll see how it goes from there. You will certainly get a chance to see that new serve motion who is today. Personally, I like it, and as he said, he's been working on it for quite a while now. He's 25 years old. Minneapolis is where he was born, and he spent some time down in Florida as well now. David Wheaton, a semi-finalist at Wimbledon, was the best he ever did, and when he, in a Grand Slam tournament, he beat Ivan Lendl there when Lendl was trying so hard to win Wimbledon, which is the only tournament that the only Grand Slam that he was not able to win. He also beat Andre Agassi that year, so that's one of the wins, one of the 3 wins that he has over Agassi. Currently ranked number 68 in the world. He has been ranked as high as number 12 in his career, and you can see his career earnings don't include the $2 million that he won in just one tournament in Munich that year at the Grand Slam Cup.
Wheaton to serve. First set. Thank you.
So it's David Wheaton with his, I don't want to say new serve, but with the serve that you may not have seen in a while. He throws the ball up and hits it a lot quicker than he used to. First point, best of 3 sets.
Love 15.
Andre Agassi likes these hard courts as well. He was born in Las Vegas, Nevada, and he's 24 years old, and they play on hard courts virtually exclusively there. He still lives in Las Vegas. won a lot of money in his
Love
time.
30.
It doesn't even compare with what he has made off court, though, because he's one of the most marketable commodities in all of sports. At this point, he's ranked number 20 in the world. Guy flies around in his own jet. And he's got love 30 in this first game.
Nice play by David Wheaton to stay in that point after the ball hit the top of the tape and bounced over.
Yep. 3 crisp shots. Good serve, then a crisp return, and he puts the volley away well.
And that's the kind of volley you have to hit against Andre Agassi. You can't expect to just place the ball back easily and not expect a ripped shot to come back at you. Good service action. Now he comes in. Now watch how far out in front and how firm the wrist was. That helps you generate the pace and keep the volley firm.
He started out serving well.
40-30.
And I don't think we'll see a noticeable difference between the old David Wheaton serve and the new one, but it's a subtle change and a very important change because he's hitting a little bit more on the rise, getting a little bit more snap. And as he mentioned, he's trying to get it a little bit more consistent.
4 straight points, not bad.
Another big first serve, and he holds on. 1 game to love, Wheaton, first set.
Is my mic working?
You're just too far away with...
It's Agassi to serve now to Wheaton, down 1 game to love. And last night he had a terrific night. He won his match very easily. And afterwards I asked him about his next match against David Wheaton today.
David is a dangerous player. You know, his record against me now is 3-2. He has me beat by 1. You know, he takes big chances off the ground, and he serves and volleys. And if he's serving real well and volleying real well, and you know, I mean, he's looking just to take control of every point and to take chances. I think if I can stay on him mentally and stay in and make him stay out there a long time and have to hit a lot of balls, I think I can get errors from him and, you know, take control of the match. I feel good about my chances, but he's definitely somebody I'm to give a lot of respect to.
15 love.
Go back. Go back.
He's very aware, Agassi, isn't he? He knows what his record is against the kid. You know, somebody...
That's from hanging around Brad Gilbert,
Yeah.
who knows everyone's record against everyone else. They had a very big match at the 91 Wimbledon, which Wheaton won in 5 sets. But, of course, 92 Wimbledon, Agassi won everything. Wheaton has beaten Andre on hard courts. At Lipton in 91, at Stratton in 89. But Agassi has also beaten David on hard. That was in Orlando the same year, 89.
40 love.
They played as recently as Osaka of this year, and that went to 3 sets, and it included a couple of tie breaks.
$40-15.
Very firm forehand there from David Wheaton that got Agassi on his heels. It's not that easy to get Agassi on his heels because he uses so much power himself. Game point.
Game Agassi.
Agassi holds on, and it's 1 game off first set.
Cliff, I don't think it's a bad idea for David Wheaton to try to take the initiative early in a point, because once Andre Agassi takes over, David Wheaton cannot really stay in the point running side to side. That's really not his game. So he's better off to take a couple of chances, play the big shot, and catch Andre Agassi a little bit off guard.
I agree, and I think, well, you know, what Agassi said is what the guy can do, serve well. If he serves very well, like that, you know, he's in with a shot. That's his first ace.
15 love.
I mean, that's not only a big serve, but it's also exceptionally accurate. Now, what he's trying to do is toss the ball a little bit lower and reach up a little bit quicker. Hit the ball almost on the rise, or at least when it just stops at the top of the toss. Very much like Roscoe Tanner.
Bye. 15 all. I really think that's a good idea, Vitas, just from a mechanical standpoint on the serve. Watch this again.
He goes, Andre Agassi goes for the Lendl body shot right at David Wheaton, and then the easy put away on the overhead.
The danger with the short toss, of course, is that you don't get full extension with your body, and David Wheaton's, he's a good, big, tall, rangy guy. He wants to be able to use all of that great height.
Second serve.
That is going to be wide. It's interesting to watch that toss now, because as you were saying, Vitas, it's either on the way up or more especially, it's probably right at the top of the...
Right where it stops.
Yeah.
And that was a good look that our cameraman had there. Watch that.
There.
Right at the top, and now he'll stretch out, so you still have the extension, but you don't have the timing problems that you have when you toss it up too high and comes back down.
It used to be he was a couple of feet above that point. It's another great serve from his second ace. He is really playing forceful stuff on his own serve.
40-15.
He was a man who spent a couple of years at Nick Bollettieri's academy, and you know Agassi, of course, spent a lot of time there as well. And they're about the same age and in the same era, so they've known each other for a long time.
Great shot.
Wheaton also went to college under Dick Gould.
These two have known each other for so long. Someone else who was part of the Bollettieri camp, really one of Nick Bollettieri's first stars, is that woman right there from Canada, Carling Bassett-Seguso. She married Bob Seguso, Robert Seguso, the great American doubles player. They now have a camp in Florida. And in fact, Andre Agassi's coach from last year, Fritz Now, is working at their camp. They're busy too. They got 60 kids this week.
Game point here for Wheaton.
Deuce. Thank you.
That's his first, and it's going to happen. I mean, that's the price you pay for going for so much on the second serve.
It's the price that Andre Agassi makes you pay. Short second serve will get clobbered. And Agassi's opponents know that.
Chang's and Courier's as well.
Advantage.
A thing that I've thought has always bothered David Wheaton a bit, a weakness has been his movement, but on this point he looked very well balanced, split step at the service line, and then did a good job of getting out of the way, giving himself space to hit the volley.
Third.
Yeah, I think that went through. Called a net, but I believe that went through the net. Anyway, it's a fault. That is going to be long. Great approach from Agassi down the line, way out of reach.
When Andre Agassi is moving well, that's when he's really playing his best tennis. The same can be said of Jim Courier. When they're looking really alert and gobbling up the court, as Agassi did on that last shot, that really means he's focused and ready to play.
Yeah, big serve.
Third ace of this game.
Wheaton says that he went to college. He was a kind of Goran Ivanisevic with a big serve, and a guy used to stay back, and Dick Gould changed all of that and made him into virtually a pure serve and volley player. And you're seeing that kind of play now, but it is interesting how players can change completely from defensive to offense. or from a two-hander to a one-hander. So Wheaton holds on, and it's 2-1 now. No breaks of serve yet. This is first set. It's best of 3. They're trying to get to the quarterfinals of the Canadian Open. This is Court 1 action. It's live coverage from the National Tennis Center. The number 7 seed, Mark Rosset, and Jason Stoltenberg. That's Stoltenberg that you're looking at now. He is serving, leading 5-2, 30 love. He's got potentially 2 points to go for the match. Has had an outstanding season, Jason Stoltenberg, against Mark Rosset from Switzerland.
Mark Rosset, boy, this is bad luck for him. It looks like now he's 1 point from losing to Stoltenberg twice in the last 2 weeks. Stoltenberg knocked this guy out of Washington just last week.
Match point for Stoltenberg. Stoltenberg took out Daniel Nestor of Canada to the disappointment of the locals here. He was the last Canadian left in this Canadian Open Championships for this year. So Jason Stoltenberg is through to the next round, and he'll take on the winner of Richie Renneberg, who's a number 15 seed, and Amos Mansdorf, who beat Todd Martin last night when Martin had to retire. So Stoltenberg of Australia, who played well at this time last year, and who's coming right at the right time for him, is through to the quarterfinals of the Canadian Open. Let's go back to center court. Agassi and Wheaton. Agassi serving, leading 30 love in this game. Wheaton 2-1.
You talked about Andre Agassi's movement. One of the reasons I felt that he went through a bad patch about a year ago is that he got onto that weightlifting kick, really bulked up, and I always found one of his strengths of his game, not just the forehand, but was the way he moved around the court, the way he could track down balls and set up fast enough to hit the ball really hard.
I think that's absolutely
And for a while,
right.
he looked really sluggish. And I think he's gotten some of that pep back into his step, as you pointed out.
David Wheaton, part of the reason he feels he's had so many hip problems in the last year is because he's worked so hard to improve his movement.
First serve.
That he feels, he was doing so much training on the court, movement drills and such. He thinks maybe he sort of blew out his hips a bit.
Richard Kaufman saying that he heard the let, so they're going to replay this. Game point.
Game Agassi. 2-all.
Now, one of the things I love about Andre's game is that he takes that ball early. If you notice where his feet are, they're never more than a foot behind the baseline, right on top. And what that does is really rush the opponent. Not only does he hitting the ball hard by whipping through the shot, but at the same time, he's closer to the net. The ball comes back at you. You think you've just hit it over, and then boom. Before you know it, it's right back at you, even harder. But you have to be able to see the ball really quickly to be able to do that.
Come on, come on.
And both these players, in very different ways, try to achieve the same thing. Put their opponents in a state of emergency. Make them rush. Which is really the essence of tennis at this very high level.
Wheaton has these hip problems, so he takes all those months off, and then he comes back and he takes on a new racket. It was that head racket of Ivan Izovic's, which he said was too stiff. 15 all. So he changed, and that causes arm problems. Then he changes to a racket that's a little kinder to him, and now he's playing better.
Take a look at the way David Wheaton moves now. This is where he's on the defensive now. He's not in a balanced position, caused primarily by the shot from Andre Agassi, and now he's way out of position to track down the other shot.
So he is using now the same racket as Andre, except that it's not quite as big a head, so it's the mid-sized version of Andre Agassi's racket. You can see a rather colorful frame that they both have. Not as stiff as that Ivan Izovic one. 15-30.
Nice play from David Wheaton. He didn't play that high volley safely. He knew that he had to get a little extra pace on it to rush Andre Agassi and forces an error.
Called good. Agassi's looking for a call, doesn't get one. Terrific serve, his 4th ace.
He's really been painting that serve right down the middle. Take a look at that. That's an accurate, as accurate a serve as you can get, catching the outside half of the line.
If you want to go for that real flat one, as Wheaton's been doing, down the middle of, the middle of the net, it's a little bit lower than the edges. Good play.
A very solid, aggressive game again from Wheaton. He hangs on to his own serve. No breaks yet. 3-2, first set. Very aggressive stuff from David Wheaton so far. 3 games to 2, no breaks. Agassi about to serve this weekend. You want to be there. Agassi serving to Wheaton.
Love 15.
David Wheaton is not your garden variety serve and volleyer who tries desperately to get into the net. As we said, not until he spent a year at Stanford did he really become a serve volley player. So he grew up with his ground strokes, and he's very comfortable from the baseline.
Same kind of story, Mary, that we tell about Todd Martin. And it's a nice thing to have. I mean, he's got both games.
15 all.
David has got his own house now on Lake Minnetonka. His parents grew up on that lake, and in fact, his brother John and one of our favorite people, Aaron Boyle Wheaton, live on that lake as well. We know they're watching. Lake life sounds pretty good.
Oh, no.
He missed it.
15-30.
Yeah, I don't know how we can say anything without Aaron Boyle Wheaton telling us what to say or giving us a bunch of information. She did a great job at that.
Yeah, she's worked for us a bunch of times. Now we just make up all this stuff.
Mary, don't give our secrets away, please.
15-30.
All.
30 all now. 3-2 Wheaton. Just a reminder that at this time of day, David Wheaton is on the tough side with the sun behind Agassi.
$40-30.
That was a great return from David Wheaton, but Andre Agassi was able to half volley it back really deep.
It's as you say, he really stays right on that baseline game point for Agassi. It's tough to knock him off the sidewalk. He doesn't want to give up any space.
But it's really tough to play that way. You have to have incredibly quick reflexes, and you have to be able to see the ball so fast as it comes over the net. Yeah. Footwork is so incredibly good by Andre.
That's why Jimmy Connors could do it. Man.
That's a terrific return from him. You know, he did it from the time that he was a kid, and of course that helps as well. And I think you can learn some of that. It's just a matter of getting used to it as you watch this replay.
You know, we talk about how good this court is for Agassi because it's slow and it's got a high bounce. That also means it's good for David Wheaton. That was his second serve that sat up high, and Wheaton just pummeled it.
Yeah, I remember talking to his Agassi's dad about it one time out in the West Coast, and he said, you know, when Andre was a kid, I just used to take him out there, and he would whack every ball about as hard as he could. And I said, keep doing it, kid. Keep doing it, even if one day it'll go in, you know. And sure enough, it happened. Deuce. break point here for Wheaton. Man, he laid into that two-handed backhand. Agassi came back with another big one himself, but eventually made the error on attempt to pass.
This is the first break point of the match.
Deuce.
Agassi says thank you.
He needed that call.
Great movement from Andre Agassi, and you'll notice that when he's balanced, it's more towards the toes. You very rarely see him back on his heels. Always ready to spring forwards, pedaling back to the center of the court, then always on his toes, running out wide. Great spring in his legs. Good movement.
Advantage Agassi.
Wheaton had a break point on Agassi a couple of points ago, but Agassi is very tough on break points saved percentages for the year. He's in the top 6 players. He wins 66% of those points, which is behind Edberg, Sampras, Martin, Rosetsky, and Courier, but in front of everybody else. He missed that one. Back to deuce.
Deuce.
Balance that by Agassi's very high on the list of break points converted. And that's one of the reasons for his success. When he gets the chance, he's very good at winning the points. He's got a game point again.
Advantage Agassi.
As well as Andre Agassi is playing, David Wheaton is really making him work hard on this service game. David Wheaton coming up with some very good ground strokes of his own.
That took
Came
4
Agassi.
deuces and has saved the break point, but Agassi does hold.
And it's 3 games all in the first set.
3 all.
Playing for a place in the quarterfinal of the Canadian Open. The winner of this will take on Sergi Bruguera, who earlier today beat Carsten Brasch of Germany. Beat him pretty handily. Bruguera is looking more and more like a solid competitor on stuff other than clay courts of Europe. He's really looking good. $15 love.
Love.
I think they're both getting into the feel of this match. Andre just barely scraping back that ball, and with a little extra groan from David Wheaton, he puts that one away. He wants to get a little of the crowd on his side, too. But that's tough to do when you're playing Andre Agassi.
It's tough to even get noticed on the court when you're playing Andre Agassi.
No, come on. You don't miss that.
30 love.
There's Brad Gilbert. He's Agassi's coach now. He's been with him really since the Lipton.
He still plays some, and he was entered it originally in this tournament. Pulled out because he pulled a stomach muscle. It's been bothering him for weeks now. His longtime coach, Tom Shivington,
Fault.
is now coaching Jim Grab, and I was talking to Shiv the other day, and Tom hopes that Brad still plays some more tennis. He feels like this guy's still got some more good shots left in him.
shot there from Agassi. Boy, these guys are going at it 110%, aren't they?
30-15.
You can't hit the ball any harder back and forth than these two guys, like two heavyweights punching it out. Agassi just throwing himself at every shot. I'm amazed at how quickly he can prepare and then launch his body into the shot. And David Wheaton did a pretty good job of that in that last point.
30-15. That's a great shot. Called wide, and this is game point coming up for David Wheaton.
David is here without his coach, who's his brother Mark, who's also a doctor, but his father Bruce is always here, and he's so often at these matches with his little VCR camera. He's been shooting his kid since he was a junior.
He's happy with
Makes a lot of home movies.
He likes what he sees so far today. He's really played well, David Wheaton. By the way, I saw Shivington this morning. He says that he is now coaching Beach on how to coach.
Right. Tell him how to have his arms folded at the back of the court.
No, he missed it, so David Wheaton hangs on.
Ball change. He leads 4-3.
Game this is for Wheaton, 4 games to 3. No breaks yet. Agassi's the only one who's been in trouble so far. 4 games to 3 on serve, first set. There's Brad Gilbert, as we were saying. Shivington, who used to coach Brad Gilbert, was telling us this morning, you know, he's coaching Gilbert now on how to pick the balls up and throw them to Agassi, and how to hold his hands, you know, to look like a real coach. Because as you said, he's still a great player, B.J. Gilbert.
And for what you've told me, the Wheaton camp and the Gilbert camp are not going to get too close together there. I think that's another story. I think they had a slight altercation a couple of years back.
Yeah, they had a tough argument, in fact, at the Grand Slam Cup a few years ago, when David Wheaton was taking on Brad Gilbert, and they got into, you know, arguments about line calls and stuff, and became a whole family feud. And nearly came to fisticuffs. It was very close.
Not like the family feud on TV.
15 all.
Wheaton has continued to hold serve and put pressure on the Agassi serve, and he's really forcing Andre now to press a bit. Andre's been missing some ground strokes that you don't often see. We surely didn't see any of that from him last night. He wasn't worried at all.
13-7 in the unforced errors.
Again, he just really yanked on that backhand.
He's feeling the pressure.
Yeah.
He really is, because Wheaton is just taking it to him at the moment.
Last night, the numbers Andre put up were just really remarkable. And Vlasek had no chance.
That's a great lob. Not great, it went long.
30 all.
He put it up high, though, and that's one of the keys.
So we've been speaking about the Agassi footwork. Wheaton isn't nearly as fast as Andre, but look how rangy he is. He gets to an awful lot of balls because, you know, he can stretch so far.
Which helps him, especially on the volleys. 30 all. Yeah.
40-30.
Andre giving the linesman a second look. Says, don't give me a heart attack. Call it a little bit quicker.
Yeah, that one was, that wasn't even close. Game point. Yeah. Agassi wants a call on that one, but it was about a foot in.
But I think he did it sort of tongue-in-cheek.
Right.
He knew it was him. He thought maybe he could steal one.
Watch this.
A great return. Now it's about a foot inside, and he gives the guy a look. Well, come on.
Deuce. Oh, he's
Wheaton.
He's going to argue that one.
You got it.
That's his first double fault.
Thank you.
Second break point. That is a terrific
And
shot
Wheaton.
from Wheaton. I tell you, he has decided he's coming out here and he's going to do nothing but hit every ball just as hard as he can. And so far, it's worked beautifully. You
Wheaton's
saw the
spot 3.
unforced errors. He's made a few, but he has also hit a lot of winners.
Andre puts in the high kicker. Great return from David Wheaton. Now, Andre Agassi will not hit that ball really well. It's a little bit short, but David Wheaton committed. He said, I'm going to hit this ball hard no matter what.
Thank you.
And he breaks Andre Agassi's serve.
5-3, serving for the first set. It's interesting that when guys grow up together like these two,
Love 15.
you know, you can get in a mold, as we've said, 3-2. Wheaton leads. Wheaton has a great record against Chang, too. Chang's got a terrible time trying to handle Wheaton's game. Love 15.
Oh!
That's going to miss. Love 30.
Love 30.
And I like the way that David Wheaton has come out today. You play somebody like Andre Agassi, two things could happen. You could sort of wilt a little bit the way Lasik did yesterday, or come out like David Wheaton, accept the challenge, say, this is a great opportunity. I'm playing a great guy. I've got to raise the level of my game.
What a low percentage attempt, but it worked.
Now, he was in a funny position on the court,
15-30.
David Wheaton. He really had to come up with something improvisational, and he was able to. This was a nice wide serve, which opened up the court for him at the beginning. But here, see, he just had to make that little bit of a touch volley, and it worked beautifully for him. He's still in trouble. But I like that point for point David Wheaton is trying to dictate. And though he has made quite a few errors, his winners, his aggression is paying off.
30-all.
Mary, you're going to make errors when you're trying to be as aggressive as David Wheaton, because it's not quite in his game, but that's really the only way that he's going to beat Andre Agassi. He cannot let Andre initiate the point.
13 to Wheaton against 5 for Agassi in the winners department. So he's made more errors, but it's the winners that have really made the difference. 30-all. Break point for Agassi now.
30-40.
Talked about the problems that David Wheaton's had with his hips. Agassi had wrist surgery in December of last year, and then he comes back this year and he wins Scottsdale. He gets to the final of the Lipton. Hasn't had a bad year for him. Take a look at those break points. 1, Agassi, not yet broken. Wheaton's broken once. Took his time, though.
Deuce.
And hit that first serve right on the line into the body. Deuce.
First serve.
Another chance for Agassi, his second chance to break.
Agassi.
Get there, or did he? Yes, he did. Was not called, not up, but it left the court open for Wheaton to put it away anyway, and he saves another break point.
Great scrambling from Andre Agassi. Unlike the previous point where he did not read the drop shot, this one he anticipated, got to it, just barely scrapes it up off the ground, and still tries to scramble back into the point. But David Wheaton very coolly took his time and stroked it into the open court.
Deuce. That first serve of Wheaton's is so important to him. There it is. He's got, you know, just
great
short
numbers
of 70%.
for both these guys.
Yeah.
Really good numbers for someone like Wheaton who goes for so much on his serves.
Exactly. It's especially good for Wheaton. 69%. As hard as he's serving.
That's more impressive to me than Agassi's very high 72.
Yeah, because he doesn't go for as much.
And I would imagine that Wheaton's percentage of winning those first points are pretty high also.
Set point now. Right into the body. That was a good play. He gives him the I'm sorry play. You know, that's quite legitimate anyway in tennis. He didn't need to do that. Wheaton understands. If that's the way to win the point, that's what he's going to do. Look.
And I also, Cliff, don't know how sorry guys usually are when they do that, because you know it's coming. So then why bother saying you're sorry? And it's...
No, this guy is dripping with sincerity here.
Yeah, well...
He just saved a set
everybody
point.
that's ever done that.
He's deeply apologetic.
Deuce.
At least when Lendl hit you, he never said he was sorry. He knew it was coming. Take it like a man. That's something that I was talking about earlier. First serve percentage, very good, 65%, and he's winning 75% of those first serve points. But not that good on the second serve points won. Andre Agassi really jumping all over the second serve.
Game, first set, Wheaton.
Calling it good.
You saw it good, she saw it good.
You can't miss that one. I mean, I understand when it's close. I understand. That was crap.
Well, what you may have seen was what you may have seen, but this guy's been calling them good, and that ball was not long. So I don't think that was the mark.
It's wide. Look at it.
I see there are 3 marks there. There's 3 marks right there in a row. I don't know which one it is.
David, how does he see that? It's over now, but just call it.
I mean, I don't want to get involved in that. Seriously. I mean, there's going to be bad calls on both
God
sides.
forbid you go on a limb and give it to him.
Have to be 100.
How you saw it. You're being involved in anything.
Richard Kaufman in the chair having that altercation with Agassi, clearly unhappy about the call, which he said was
It's
wide.
over. Look at the scoreboard. Tell me how you saw it. How'd you see it?
It's not his judgment, it's mine.
They asked you to call it.
Now give it to me. I mean, talk to me about it. Don't get him involved.
That question from Agassi going to Wheaton, not to Richard Kaufman.
And that's something I don't agree with. Yes,
Yeah.
I definitely would argue the call.
Right, but
and,
you can't argue with David Wheaton.
You know,
David
it's
is
one of
trying
those
hard
2
not to
marks
answer.
there. I don't know.
Hey, I
which
mean, you
one
try
it
to get whatever you can on the court, argue your way.
Screaming on
If
the
you can change the
cross-court
call,
and I
fine,
can,
but it's
you know,
certainly don't
one
ask the
mark's
other
out by
player to
half
put
inch,
him
one
on the
mark's on the
spot.
line.
Because eventually David Wheaton will be arguing his own case with Mr. Kaufman, the chair umpire. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're able to hear this back home, but at a
No,
certain
I
point...
stopped him from talking to you. I mean, he can talk to me, but I stopped him from talking to you.
It doesn't matter how I see it, really.
Well, I know.
Wheaton is absolutely right, but after Andre finished arguing with Richard Kaufman in the chair, he looked over to David Wheaton and said, the set's over, you can tell me now. How did you think it was? And of course, Wheaton just shook his head like, hey, buddy, I'm not gonna call. That was an ace for me for set point. He was 80 feet away. He's not gonna call his own serve out for Agassi. Agassi out of line there.
Of course, on the other hand, one of the things he could have said, yeah, I thought it was wide. Too late now.
That would have really aggravated him. That would have been a beautiful move.
Yeah, but then you would have annoyed the chair umpire, so it's really a fine line of diplomacy.
Let's listen.
I didn't hear it. Was that out?
He made a call out.
Oh, and you agreed with it, right? Good. You could go to instant replay and make sure, you know?
It's a whole new set, and Agassi's got to get that in his head right now.
15 all.
Oh, man, he just let that one go. Was hoping for a call.
Didn't get one, though.
He should have played that. That was too close to let loose like that.
Dave, this is a big
30,
moment
15.
now when Agassi's in this kind of mood. If you can get on top of him in the second set, you could run away with it. So these points here, early stages, first game, second set, could be critical. all.
I think right now we're seeing a frustrated Andre Agassi. He basically threw out a lot of his game to David Wheaton in that first set, and David Wheaton was up to the task and wins that first set. And I think by that conversation at the net that we heard, you're looking at a pretty frustrated Andre Agassi.
$40-30. Game Agassi.
So
First game,
Agassi
second set.
holds on, excuse me, and it's one game to love Agassi. Second set. First set to David Wheaton, 6-3. See the seeded player in black, David Wheaton, in white, unseeded for this tournament. They are battling it out here. Wheaton won the first set. Agassi wins the first game of the second. Tomorrow at 1 p.m., continuing coverage here on ESPN of this Canadian Open. Then Saturday, the semi-final at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. On Monday, the championship match at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you've got the deuce, you can watch that live on Sunday afternoon here at 2:30 p.m. This is David Wheaton serving, 15 love. He won the first set, but he's down a game in the second.
Let me have it.
He's one of 11 of his last 12 matches on the tour, Wheaton. He won in Newport, and he got to the semifinals last week in Washington. He's won a couple of rounds here.
15 all.
That's his second double fault only. Considering his high first serve percentages, it's been a terrific serving display from him so far. It's been a pretty good comeback for Agassi health-wise. Remember last year at Wimbledon, not this year, but the year before that, he was serving in with a half motion because of his wrist. And then he had surgery in December.
Still got to the quarterfinals of Wimbledon that way.
Yeah. 30 all. Todd Martin beat him this year in the round of 16 in 5 sets. First serve.
$40-30. Deuce.
Pretty close on that baseline, wasn't it? In fact, Agassi is asking some of the spectators.
No, yeah.
I thought it was good, but they said it's out.
Yeah, it was very close.
Oh, boy. He's giving Wheaton the business. Again, he's picking on the wrong guy by going to David Wheaton. David's not making any of these calls. He's just trying to play the calls. But Agassi's trying to get under his skin. We'll see if it works.
Missed it, so here is a breakpoint chance for Agassi. Agassi has not broken yet. This is his third chance to break. Wheaton has had 2 so far, and he's broken once. It's all needed to win the first set.
Game Agassi.
There is the breaker serve. First one for Agassi, and he leads 2 games to love in the second, having lost the first.
Brilliant passing shot, but I thought the thing that kept Andre Agassi in on that point was the return of that first shot from David Wheaton. It was right off the baseline. He got the ball back in play, and then he just stayed down real low and just drove straight through the ball, dipping it cross court.
$15 love.
Wheaton having so many going for an awful lot of winners. He wasn't afraid to go for the ball, which is why he had more unforced errors than Andre. But frankly, the bottom line, the story in that first set was that Wheaton had a couple of breakpoint chances, and he converted on one. That 6-3 set was closer than it sounds. And now it's Andre Agassi who's operating with the break. It's really just a couple of points that decided that first set.
The high first serve percentage for Wheaton in the first set really helped him too.
Come on, it's crap.
30 love, second serve.
That two-hander worked well for him in the first set.
30-15.
Came up with a couple big ones on critical points.
Two-hander hits it down to the forehand side. It turns out to be a flatter shot, and it's very tough to anticipate.
They both know what to do with a loose ball.
40-15.
Anything short is going to be attacked by both guys. Those 2 points just showed it.
On the line, maybe 2 lines on that approach shot, and Agassi holds on. So 3 games to love Agassi in the second set. Wheaton won the first.
Agassi leads 3 love.
When did you recognize the man in the Yankee cap, Patrick McEnroe? Welcome to you. Had a tough match in the first round here against Richie Renenberger, went out, but you're still alive in the doubles.
Still in the doubles, yeah. Richie's playing well here. He's going to be up against Mansdorf today a little bit later, so hopefully he can keep it going.
Vitas Gerulaitis is taking his leave of us for a moment. He's going to go down courtside, see what he can find out. Wheaton serving. It has been so far. Have you seen a lot of this, Patrick?
Yeah, I've been watching. I watched the first set in the locker room, and Wheaton's just playing with a lot of confidence now. He's serving really well, as you guys have been saying, and you know he bothers Andre. Andre doesn't feel that comfortable playing against him, and we can see that so far today.
Yeah, we were saying that earlier, actually. Michael Chang has a tough time against Wheaton as well. Something about the history of these guys. They've been playing against each other so long. 15 love.
What is going to decide this now, Patrick? I mean, obviously he's got a pretty fat lead now, Agassi, and it looks like he's calmed down after his the end of that first set where he kind of lost it.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to, Andre's going to have to play a little more consistent from the baseline and just, hit a lot of balls at Wheaton's forehand. Obviously, we know he's got a great backhand. He has improved his forehand. I think that's what's making him play a lot better the last couple of weeks. He's hitting it well. But Andre's got to, an attack a little bit more, I think, try to get in a bit more, take the short ball.
$15.30. Patrick,
15.30.
is Andre Agassi on your list of potential winners of Grand Slam tournaments still? Where's he in his career? He started out well this year after that wrist surgery that he had, and has kind of slipped a little bit. I mean, is he a guy that you think of when you say, now, who's going to win the U.S. Open? Is he in line for a possible win?
I think he's an outside threat. I mean, at this point, I don't know if he can play that well over 2 weeks. I just think other guys have improved their game so much. And honestly, Cliff, I don't really feel like in the last couple of years he's improved. He's a great player. He hits the ball unbelievably well off the ground. But, everyone's improved. Sampras has improved his return, his ground strokes. Courier works on things, and Chang, serving better. All those guys are improving a little bit. And, I don't see where Andre's really improved, a certain part of his game. And I think that's his problem.
What is the most improvable part of his game? If you had to coach him, what would you work on?
30-all.
Well, obviously, you'd like to see him, work on his serve a little bit. I mean, he has at times been able to serve big first serves, but he could do that a little bit more consistently, and for sure work on the volley. I mean, he says he works on the volley. Obviously, he's never going to be a great volleyer, but he could certainly improve upon that.
Break point. There's another break for Agassi. He's very much in control now. It was virtually a carbon copy the last time that he broke that two-hander cross court right by Wheaton, who had no chance, and he leads 4 games to love.
Agassi hasn't had too many chances to break Wheaton, but he took full advantage of this one. I mean, he just gave this one a ride and went for it. He was off court, off position, and had to go for a big shot. And look at the angle he found for the break.
And anyone you see hit shots like that, you think they might have a chance to win the Open. Look at that.
It sounds more than anything when you hear guys speak to the question of Agassi. It comes down to discipline. I mean, everyone knows how dangerous the guy is.
Sure. It's definitely that, and also fitness, and in a 2-week event, especially something like the U.S. Open or the French Open. Well, there's a great shot by Wheaton.
15-all.
Showing his improved forehand there a little bit.
Because Andre really has been trying to bust it.
Yeah, he'll go at it all day. He'll keep going at it. Wheaton stretched wide in the back, and it's good to get it back in play. And here he just rips across court.
$30-15.
Agassi's first of the day.
30-15. He's hit a couple of those today, Wheaton, when he has anticipated where Agassi's going. Just clean winner off the forehand. Take a look here.
Hitting it a lot smoother. He's hitting it real smooth. Sometimes he takes big swings at it. I've seen him do that before. But he, like you said, Cliff, he's hit a couple of those today and hitting pretty smooth.
40-30.
That one was smoothly into the back fence, though.
Game point Agassi for
but it was
5
smooth.
love.
Yeah, it was. Still looked good.
Seems to me, Patrick, he came out today saying, I am going to have to hit the ball every bit as hard as Agassi. That's the only way I'm going to win. And he's done it. And he's done it actually very effectively until these last few games.
Exactly. I mean, he's got to go for a shot to beat Andre.
Advantage Agassi.
Advantage Agassi.
Don't shake your head like you see that line. You can make that line all day.
Agassi is still upset with Richard Kaufman. This is it. Agassi holds on, and it's 5 games to love. Players are going to change ends. Agassi, well, he's going to win the second set. Wheaton won the first set, but Agassi's in control of the second. Now, you were saying, Patrick McEnroe's with us here for the moment, that you like his forehand a lot. That's improved, but his best shot is the backhand. Here's a look at both of them.
Well, here's a good return. He takes a pretty short backswing, keeps it compact, finishes the stroke. Here he's waiting. He's on his toes, sees the ball coming in short, and got just a beautiful backhand, just leans right into it, and that's down the line for a winner. He loves that shot. That's his favorite shot. Ouch. Caught the net lady there on the shoulder.
Yeah. He said something to her. I couldn't hear what he said, but she's saying, hey, it's okay. I'm going to live. I'll survive.
He's a lot more relaxed now. He's up 5-0 in the second.
15-love.
Wheaton started out and he served great in the first set, you know. But now take a look and see what's happened here in the second set. He's way under 50% at 43. Agassi has stayed steady. That's made the difference. Again, another missed first serve.
That one was beautifully placed, and it kicked up nice and high as well.
30-love.
By the way, on the last changeover, Richard Kaufman in the chair warned David Wheaton that he was taking too much time between points. They're still allowed 25 seconds. After the U.S. Open, that will go down to 20 seconds, and David Wheaton is very much against the new ruling. The rule that we've been able to enjoy so much in this match, because it's come into play, is that the court is once again hot mic'd. I mean, we can really hear exchanges between player and the chair. At the end of 1991, what we all call the Mac rule, after Patrick's older brother John, you know, the microphones were turned off. Now they're back on. Mac is out. Mike is on.
That's right.
And Wheaton.
You wouldn't be too happy about it, probably.
Agassi leads 5-1.
Patrick McEnroe is up here with us, and it's a pleasure to listen to what he says. Meanwhile, Vitas Gerulaitis, you know, he could be anywhere right now. I mean, that guy, you know, he's probably off getting a hot dog. Where is he? There he is, right in the middle of your screen.
Yeah. Good-looking guy with long hair.
Yeah. He's a well-dressed guy.
15. Not too bad. Hey, get rid of that Blue Jays hat in front of you, Vitas. Grab that hat. Thank you.
15-love. 30-love, Agassi. What's your reaction to the rule changes, Patrick?
Well, a lot of guys seem to be complaining about that 20, you know, going down the 20-second thing. I mean, I think anything you can do to get the fans more interested, we should do. And you know, some guys are worried that that's gonna bring down the level of play because if you're winded or something, or you want to get your towel, you're gonna have to be rushed. But I mean, guys can get used to that. I mean, I think it's time will tell, and we'll see how it works out.
That's my point. I think you can get used to it in a hurry.
Yeah, definitely.
What about the spectators in the upper reaches of the stands being able to move around while you play?
I think they should be able to move around anywhere.
I like what you said about basketball.
Yeah, right.
Can you repeat that?
Well, I just said that someone asked me last week, there's a guy strolling around, asked me last week in Washington what I thought, and I said, well, hey, there's in the NBA basketball, there's guys, 5,000 people waving their arms when they're shooting a free throw with the game on the line. And, you know, that's your job. I mean, you got to go out there and play, and you got to perform. And this is the bottom line is that this is for the fans to enjoy and spectators. And without the fans, you know, we don't have a sport. So.
Yeah, yeah. Set point. Deuce. Serving for the set at 5-1. Agassi had a couple of set points. Now it's deuce in this game.
First serve. Advantage Agassi.
Set point again, Agassi.
Game. Second set, Agassi, 6-1. Ball
So
change.
Agassi wins the second one easily. First set to Wheaton. One break to serve. One set all. We're going to take a break. Be back. So the comeback of Vitas Gerulaitis continues. We've been having some fun with him. We did so the other night on ESPN2. He's out there practicing now. You give a guy a little time off and he just cannot wait. And he's getting quicker and quicker as the day goes on.
He's doing great. You know, he had a couple of minutes off, so he figured he'd get in a little bit of hit. But now he knew that we're back to the tennis. He took a quick shower. Now he's rejoining this match.
Listen, he is playing a Seniors Tour event, an ATP Seniors Tour event next week in Cincinnati. So if you're in the Cincinnati area, make sure that you go. And then in the New York area the week after that, he's playing one of Jimmy Connors' Champions Tour
He's
events.
booked solid, is what. We're lucky to have him.
Maybe I can get him to play doubles with me in Cincinnati.
Final set, Wheaton to serve.
He's playing the Seniors event.
Patrick, how's your game going? I know you're number 69 in the world now in singles. You played doubles for Davis Cup, the U.S. Davis Cup against India with Richie Renneberg. What kind of a summer you figure you're going to put together?
Well, I'm hoping it gets better. It didn't go too well here, but been working hard. I had a long couple weeks and playing a lot of events. So I got a week off next week to kind of regroup and practice hard and hopefully get ready for the Open. You know, play well in the next few tournaments and then have a good U.S. Open.
That stayed in.
15-love.
15-love. This is the first game of the third set. Patrick, we're watching two guys here with two-handers. You got a two-hander, then you got, a lot of other guys with great two-handers. Todd Martin, for example, Michael Chang. Is there any way to say who's got the best two-hander?
Oh, that's tough. I don't know.
A lot of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I think you'd have to say on the return right now, it's probably Todd Martin. Probably has the best backhand return. Andre can certainly crush it, but I think Todd just covers more space because of his wingspan and hits the ball so clean.
That's way out. 15-all. Curtis, of course, doesn't stink either. But when you start talking about backhands, they all do seem to be the two-handed variety.
Well, I think so. I mean, certainly on the return. I mean, you know, it's a little bit easier to return with two hands as long as you don't get stretched out so wide. So it is a bit of an advantage, especially now everyone's serving so hard. You know, it's easier to get around the ball.
That is a great topspin lob for a clean winner, 30-15 Wheaton.
There's a great point. They're just clubbing it from the baseline. Wheaton scurries up to the ball, hits a nice little field shot. Or was that earlier? Here he comes. And then there's the lob, topspin lob winner. I don't know why Andre was at the baseline there, but showed a little bit of everything there, Wheaton.
Yeah. Good coverage, as you've been talking about, due to that wingspan. Sure helps.
40-15.
Just sticks his racket out and puts it into the open court.
What a great second serve. That came in at 160 Ks, which that just shows his confidence from winning so many matches the last couple weeks. I mean, to hit that kind of serve, he knows he has to against Andre. If he doesn't, Andre will punish it.
About 115 miles an hour. .40-15 game point. Flip the line, 40-30. Patrick, we've also been talking about that he's changed his serve motion. He doesn't throw the ball up near as high as he did. He's sort of like trying to make it Tanner-like or Curran-like. Do you think that's a good idea for Wheaton?
Seems to be helping. He's certainly serving. But every time I see him, he always seems to be changing his serve a little bit. He's done that over the years. The guy's got a great serve, and every time I see him, he's got a little bit something new. But seemed to work right there. Another ace.
First game final.
One game to love. Wheaton in the third set. They're going to take a rest, and so will we. That's how things look at the second set here. How do you figure, guys?
Now, Agassi played a much better second set, and the quality of his game really went down, particularly his serve, and that's what really started hurting him. Andre Agassi started, opening up his shoulders and going for the shots. He had a lot more winners in the second set.
When you're up there at 68% and you're serving as well and as hard as he does, and you can maintain it for a whole set, that's one thing. But when the first serve percentages go down, as we showed you also, when he misses his first serve, he's in a lot of trouble against Agassi, and that's true of just about anybody, isn't it?
Again, Richard Kaufman is very carefully watching David Wheaton. He's already warned him that he's taking too much time in between points, and now this is a very long game change.
Well, I think you're actually, if you request before the changeover to change the shoes, you're allowed a little extra time. So that's probably what he's getting here. But I think you guys were right in what you said about the serve. I mean, really, the set comes down to Wheaton's first serve. Yeah. He gets a big first serve percentage. He's going to be able to take a few more chances on Andre's serve. And then Andre's going to be under a little more pressure and make a couple errors like we saw him make to lose the first set.
Out. 15 love.
We were just talking before, Patrick, about how David Wheaton likes the dynamics of this kind of match. He likes playing against the hard-hitting guys.
He loves playing the big name players, Agassi, Chang, Courier, Lendl. He's got very good records against all those guys. His problem, I think, has been his consistency as far as keep maintaining a very high ranking. He's dropped down quite a bit. Now he's on his way back. But I think that's what separated him from the rest of these guys.
30-15.
See, Mary, his problem is he beats these guys and he loses to guys like me.
What was that? A 360. Oh. He gets away with it. You know what it is, Patrick? A lot of what it is with David Wheaton is he doesn't get bothered by pace the way a lot of guys do. He likes the pace.
30 all.
He handles it here.
Here it is. There's that 360. Everything's going his way.
That's the second time he's hit that kind of a shot today. It's tremendous.
Amazing. He's hitting the ball great off the ground. I mean, Andre was pounding the ball there, and he stayed right with him, and he's looking good here, 30 all.
That's one of those backhands that you were speaking about earlier. He kind of snatched at the ball, a big old swing, which makes you think maybe his timing on the shot is a little bit off.
Certainly, I mean, at that stage, at 30 all, he's up a game in the third. I mean, he's got to get that into play. I mean, that's a big point. If he wins that point, it's break point. And Agassi might double fault, and all of a sudden he's got the break.
Yeah, Agassi.
Andre holds on.
Because the other side of that story is you got to dance with who you brung, and he decided that he was going to hit the ball.
Go for it.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, it's worked pretty well so far. It's going to tell just at this stage, one game all, where it goes from here. Guy had a little difficulty climbing up here to our commentary position because he's got a bad groin and he had to pull out yesterday. You may recognize that face, so you saw him here on ESPN playing the final of the Australian Open this year, losing to Pete Sampras.
Back in my time, Cliff, in your time, we didn't play with groins or something. What did we play, groinless tennis? I never heard. No, it's the only injury you ever hear about.
30 love.
Going to sit down here in a second and give us a few words of wisdom.
Todd Martin, the second seed, who was forced to retire yesterday against Thomas Monsdorf.
30 love.
Oh, man. What was better here, the serve or the return? I guess the return.
Well, here's what won Andre Agassi Wimbledon back a couple of years ago. This unbelievable return, stretch, full stretch, and is able to meet the ball cleanly and get across court.
Yeah, that's another one, baby. 2 in a row. Now, that ball had to have come back as fast as that
30 all.
Serve came at him.
Is Agassi just getting a better look at the Wheaton serve, or has Wheaton, you think, backed off his first serve a little bit? Because he's really getting a pretty good beat on it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to me like he's backed off. He's still going for it. Andre's probably the best returner in the game. One of the best. Another one might be standing right behind me, but you know he's going to come up with a few of those as the match goes on.
40-30.
Game point here for Wheaton. Todd Martin, he can't say anything to because he doesn't have the cans on yet. But this man, Patrick McEnroe, just said that you have the best two-hander in the business on the return. Get you to respond after this.
Todd just said he knew I was coming up.
That one is wide, and so in spite of 2 great returns to serve, Agassi holds on. Patrick, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Very interesting to listen to you. 2-1, Wheaton, third set. Musical chairs up here. Mary Carrillo, we recognize her face. You recognize his face as well, Todd Martin. She said you've seen a lot of him on ESPN. Welcome. Now you may respond to that. Do you have the best two-handed back in the business, like Patrick McEnroe says?
No.
Who does then?
Patrick's is one of them, and Andre is very good, and David's is very good. So
Chang?
Chang's is different. He doesn't generate quite as much power as the rest of us, but it's very consistent. And
Courier?
15 love.
Jim doesn't use it enough to really consider it
a weapon.
Being a weapon, yeah.
Todd, how hurt are you?
I'm not really that hurt. I pulled my muscle a little bit, and I don't think it's that bad. But the groin muscle you use on so much movement that really any kind of strain or anything at all is going to really affect how you play.
You're going to have to take some time off?
I'm going to take the next few days off. I was scheduled to have next week off, and hopefully I'll just be real prepared to play on next Monday in Cincinnati.
All right, an easy whole game so far for Andre Agassi. His second ace, he just fired off.
Agassi holds on, and it is 2 games all in the third set. Let's go now to Sports Center and Charlie Steiner, who has an update on the baseball strike talks. So back to headquarters now, and Charlie Steiner. You are watching live coverage of the Canadian Open Championships. We are in York University campus at the National Tennis Center of Canada. It is David Wheaton and Andre Agassi, the number 8 seed, battling it out here for a place in the quarterfinals. It's 2 games all, 15-30. Wheaton serving to Agassi in the third set. Cliff Drysdale, Mary Carrillo, joined by Todd Martin. Terrific shot, and Agassi's got a couple of break points for the first break chance of the third set.
15-40.
Well, here David does absolutely everything perfect. He shows some real good agility at the net. Goes from sideline to sideline, and then stings another good volley. But Andre's always moving forward in that point, and ends up being just in better position than David was.
Still break point for Agassi.
30-40.
That's 3 great points right there from both players. David hit a good serve and a good volley the first point, then Andre won that real real long point last point, and then another good serve and ground stroke from David.
Wheaton's only had 2 chances and broken once. Here's the 6th chance for Agassi. He's broken twice. Long.
Deuce.
There are some similarities, in fact quite a few. Your height, you and David Wheaton both went to college. He started out also defensively as a player. As you take a look at Beach, you started out as a defensive player. Now you're both attacking players. Address that for me, Todd. Why did you do that?
Well, as I grew more and grew stronger, I think it was pretty apparent that I wasn't going to be winning a lot of matches running down balls and looping ground strokes. So I worked on that part of my game from the time I was probably 16 or 15 till now, pretty much exclusively with just some fine-tuning of my ground strokes. And actually now it seems that that part's pretty sound, and I sometimes struggled with the consistency from the ground.
Break, point again. And there's the break for Agassi. First break of the 3rd set, leads 3-2. On the 2nd set, easily, but he lost the
Agassi
first
leads
set behind
3-2,
one
final
break
set.
of serve. We're going to take a break. Agassi has the break in the 3rd set, 3-2, 1 set apiece. Mary Carrillo had a chance to talk to David Wheaton today, just before this match, about playing against Andre. Remember, they're about the same age. They played a lot in the juniors.
Thank you.
Well, I think we grew up together, so I don't think there's any sort of mystique with the, Andre as a, transcending the sport or anything like that. But he's obviously, a very talented player, aside from all the other stuff he's involved in life. So he's got a great game to back it up. So I think in the past we've had some really good matches. One at Wimbledon in particular that I happened to win, and he's beat me a couple times. So it's going to be a good match, I think.
As much as Andre is big box office, is playing him particularly fun for you? I mean, is it more than just a normal match because it is Andre and everyone's watching?
No, I don't think it anymore because of that. I think more because Andre's a talented player. I think he's a very good player. I don't think it has. I think I respect him as a player more than more than there's something in the mind that this is a lot of people come to watch and stuff like that. I really kind of see it as this is going to be a difficult tennis match for me in that respect, in that he's got great ground strokes, great return, and he moves well. So that in that respect, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm not really thinking about anything else.
David Wheaton receiving the serve of Andre Agassi. He's down a break in the 3rd. It's 15-all in this game.
One more reminder, if you joined us late, Agassi has 1 win over Wheaton this year, but Wheaton has the head-to-head advantage, 3-2, including that win at Wimbledon a couple of years ago. And it's not that big a surprise that this has gone to 3, is it, Todd?
30-15.
No, I think it's a good matchup between a very aggressive player and a great counterpuncher. And you can see it in the stats here that most of the action is happening on David's side. 32 winners and 34 unforced errors compared to almost half in each column. So I think that that's the way David wants it, but he's got to make sure not to force too much. He in this game already he's had 2 points where he's missed forehands from deep in the court, and 1 point where he actually hit a winner from the similar position, but maybe shouldn't have gone for such a big shot.
30-all. Just a reminder, you're talking about that Wimbledon effort of Wheaton's over Agassi. Wheaton beat Agassi there and got to the semi-final. That's the best he's ever done in a Grand Slam tournament. He also beat Lendl there when Lendl was trying so desperately to win Wimbledon. Terrific shot, and that's game to Agassi. 4-2 now.
I don't know if that's Brad Gilbert's coaching coming into play, but Andre's doing that a whole lot better. He's coming to the net off his serve some and off the ground especially extremely well, and he's defending himself at the net better and better.
Is Andre one of the guys that you will have to look at come U.S. Open time as a potential winner, Todd? Obviously, you're one of them.
Well, I think I certainly think so, but you also have to take into consideration that
15 love.
It's probably the toughest place to win, and also Andre is got a game where he's going to have to work pretty hard each match to win. You're going to probably look for a guy like Sampras or Edberg or Stieg to really take control, because he's going to have all those guys are always going to have the short points on their sides, and Andre's really going to have to be sharp for each match.
This was I don't know what you'd call this, Todd. He was out of position, Wheaton. He went for a big old swing volley and really misplayed it. Is he tired, you think?
No, it's another case of a mishit return really being difficult to read where it's coming, and David misjudged it, and instead of playing a conservative one-handed slice volley, he decided to take a big swing at it. Like I guess he's been watching Andre play too much.
Comes back with a big ace, though. 30-15. He's down 4-2, third set.
He knew he had the ace in the reserves, so.
That was his 8th. He could use some cheap points now. He's 2 games from being out of the Canadian Open.
That play is going to work a lot. That's the kick serve I was talking about earlier, and
40-15.
More than not, he'll get a short return out of it, and David's awfully good with the backhand, especially out of the midcourt.
Terrific return of serve. What's your reaction to the ATP rule changes? Do you like the 20 seconds? What's your reaction to that?
Well, we're not actually doing the 20 seconds yet. We got a few months to get used to the stricter 25 seconds. Right. I think it's a great idea. It's going to make matches go a little bit quicker. Like the stats say, we don't actually, the ball's not in play all that long, and might as well get these get the matches through a little quicker. And
Cliff wants 15 seconds between points. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think Cliff.
That's what you said, Cliff.
No, I didn't. I said that they should consider 15 seconds.
Oh,
I think maybe we should test that out on the senior tour.
Touche. That goes wide. Nice play from David Wheaton.
Game for Wheaton, 4-3 Agassi in the third set. He has the break. He'll serve after we take a break.
Agassi leads 4-3.
Agassi has the break. He's going to serve here, 4-3. Let's go down to Vitas Gerulaitis with somebody they say they think even I could beat. Let's find out who it is. Vitas.
Thank you, Cliff Drysdale. 60 years ago, this gentleman next to me won the Wimbledon Championship with a forehand as big as Andre Agassi. The great Fred Perry. Fred, how are you?
Well, it wasn't as noisy as Andre. There was no top spin on it, but it was a different ball game when we played Vitas. We had the wooden rackets. There were certain things we couldn't do with the wooden racket that these boys can do with the new equipment. And there's no way that we, in our day, with the equipment we had, could play the way they do. They've learned to play with this new technology. They've learned it very well. They play extremely well. Make no mistake about that. But they couldn't play the type of game we did. They have to force the openings, whereas we used to work for them.
I also know one of the similarities between your and Andre Agassi's game that you like to take the ball on the rise like he did also.
Well, I took it as early as I could, yes. My problem came when they wanted to hit the ball to the backhand. I had to think. But I played my whole game knowing that sooner or later they had to hit the ball somewhere short on the forehand. And when they did that, that was the end of the point, either for them or for me.
You think the equipment has made a huge change in the game?
Oh, yes. No doubt. I think it's been wonderful for the women's game. I think it's made the women's game feasible and worth watching now. But I watch a lot of it, and you see some good strokes, which you never used to see with the wooden racket. They got the extra speed. I think there's too much speed here now. The ball is not on the racket long enough. They have to hit it so hard. And I find that most of their mistakes come from around their service line, where they have to hit the ball so hard they can't get it up and down in time. And you don't see them working for the opening like we used to. Except in Paris, where they have to work for 3 days, you know.
Fred, listen, great seeing you again. And back up to you, Cliff. And listen, by the way, Todd Martin, please keep your comments to the senior tour to yourself. Wait till you're my age.
We call it Jurassic tennis, Todd.
Well
a love break for David Wheaton.
Coming from a new 40-year-old, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, David just played a great game.
4 games all now in the third set.
Was that more about David's good play or Agassi letting down?
Andre played 2 great points, the first 2 points, and got himself to net off of good shots, and David had 2 great backhand passing shots, and then David took it to him, and Andre just didn't come up with the passing shot. And I think now we're in store for a great finish. It's the tennis is getting better and better as we go along.
$15 love.
15 love.
The complexion has changed again. Agassi easily winning the second set, and then he got the first break of the third set. Looked for all the world like he was going to run it out, but now we are back very much in the heat of a crucial match.
I think Andre's got to, when David does stay back, he's got to start to redirect the balls to his forehand a bit more. He's given him a few chances to hit backhands, and David's come up with the goods. So if he can, he should start trying to direct a few more balls to his forehand side.
This court plays pretty friendly to the serve and volley player actually now.
It's a different type of benefit you get from serving and volleying on this court. Most courts, the ball goes through the court real quick, but here the ball bounces quite high. So even your flat serves bounce high, and then also the spin kicking serve out to the backhands are just bounce over the guy's head, and
40 love.
It's pretty tough to get the ball down for the returner. Andre obviously does it better than anybody else, though.
That whipping passing shot of Agassi's called out.
Game
So
points
Wheaton's
for Wheaton.
on a real roll. He broke Agassi at love, and he's about to hold at love.
The momentum is switching, but this is not an abnormality here with David holding easily. It's he's serving well, and he's going for quite a bit on both serves, and I think his dad's probably very happy with the way things are going.
Father Bruce.
There is an ace from, that's number 9 for Wheaton as
Ball
he holds
change.
on, and he's got a 5-4 lead in the third set.
He needs 5-4
Agassi
final
will
set.
serve, but he's behind now.
New balls. Bring him in.
Looking strong here,
Thank you.
12 of the last 14 points. Agassi will serve down 4-5 third set.
15 love.
I think if Andre collected his thoughts well at the changeover there, he's realizing that a few too many balls are going to David's backhand, and I think you'll see quite a few forehands from David this game.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not.
Sounds like the right idea, though.
Met that
15
one
all.
very early. Clean winner. Flat. Watch.
Looked like the ball almost took a bad bounce on David, and he had to adjust a little bit mid-swing.
30-15.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Looked like he hit it a little late, actually.
Yeah,
3 aces for Agassi, 30-15.
that's the benefit of having a two-handed backhand.
Look at that. About 10 games worth of winners from Wheaton. Twice as many as Agassi.
$40-15. Yeah,
Agassi holds on, and we are at 5 games all. Todd, you were asking me just a moment ago what I thought about having the microphones on. Does it affect the way, I mean, you don't cuss out the guy in the chair anyway, but does it affect anything that you do out there, and what do you think about it?
Oh, I think it is. It's good to know what's happening up there, and I'm a little nervous with some of my peers up at the net and what they might choose to say, but I think it's going to be good, and once everybody gets used to it, it won't bother anybody.
5 games all. 15 love Wheaton.
15-11.
Tight stage of this match. If he wins this, tiebreak is the worst that Wheaton can do. Eesh. That is very strong serving. 10th ace.
30-11.
That's about 112 or 115 miles an hour right there, out wide in the ad court, which is the toughest serve to hit. And he hit it short and right on the line.
$30-15.
And that's why he hits it on the line, because if he doesn't, Andre's going to put it right back at him, and he returns so well. It's you almost come to expect it from him that the ball's going to be coming back low, and I think when you're playing him, you get into the swing of things. Almost it's
40-15.
It's better if he could get a few balls up and make you hit volleys instead of half volleys, because you get so used to that, you're pretty trained into the whole thinking.
Game point. That's terrific serving from Wheaton. Problem for Agassi is he's going to have to hold on, and then if Wheaton serves that well in the tiebreak, anything could happen. Agassi's about to serve. He's going to try to get into a tiebreak here to get into the quarterfinals of the Players Limited. Crowd are getting excited by this moment at 6-5. Agassi to serve. It's not easy to pick which way he's going, is it?
No, he's got
15 love.
He swings the racket so much with his body instead of his arm that he really hides his stroke well, and not to mention he hits it as clean and as hard as almost everybody on the tour. I don't think Andre should be too upset with that. David took a all-or-nothing swipe at the ball there and hit it well, and you just got to say that's too good if that happens.
And Todd, he continued to get great length on his ground strokes week, and that's what's really forcing these errors, don't you think?
Well, when David hits a good return and hits the ball deep, then he's going to get a chance to hit the ball from the middle of the court, and usually from inside the baseline, which is what he's looking for, and then it's that much easier for him to hit the ball through the court.
Still going for it. That time he missed it off the backhand side, 30 all.
That was a pretty easy serve he was looking at as well. Got a bit anxious there. Jumped on it.
I think the speed of Andre's serve was a little bit slower than David expected, and also I think he was a little anxious and wanted to go for a little bit too much. He should have probably just chosen to go
40, 30.
Hard cross court and maybe follow it to the net and make Andre pass him, or go right down the middle and give Andre fits that way.
Game point Agassi.
Wheaton was 2 points from the match. Now it's 1 point from a tiebreak.
Again, there's an example of Andre deciding to come in off of his serve.
Wow. That's his third of the match. What a time for him.
That's pitiful.
Pitiful.
First serve.
Took something off that first serve, trying to get it in. Didn't take anything off that one, though.
Advantage Agassi.
Game point again, Agassi.
It's a pretty underrated shot by Andre. He can really crack them, and he also is very accurate with the consistent spin serve of his.
So we'll see a tiebreak to decide who gets in the
6-all final
quarterfinal
set, tiebreak.
of this year's Canadian Open. The winner to take on Sergi Bruguera, the top seed, who, Todd, is playing well on hard courts these days.
Thank you.
Yeah.
9-4 for Wheaton. Agassi is at 50% on tiebreaks for the year.
Well, the one tiebreaker I played with Andre this year, I didn't win a point, so that was at Wimbledon in just a month ago, and it was a pretty crucial set. I think it was the third or fourth set in our match at Wimbledon, and I was up 2-0 and squeaked my way into a tiebreaker, and I felt pretty good about it. And then Andre hit 4 return winners and 3 service winners. So, wow.
Forehand winner for him there, and it's 1 point all in the TB.
1-all.
If you look at that winners and unforced errors chart again, I'm sure you haven't seen too many errors in the last 3 or 4 games.
2 points to 1 Agassi. Now the question is, there are your winners and unforced errors, Wheaton and Agassi by comparison. And now the question is, how well does Wheaton serve in this crucial stage? He has served beautifully here in the last few games.
There's a lot of pressure on David to hold up right here. He really needs to make a first serve and make Andre return hard.
As good as your first serve can be, against Agassi, you still have to expect a volley, don't you?
Well, there it is. David hit a great serve. It's about 115 miles an hour, and it was maybe 2 feet inside both lines, and that's just not good enough, and Andre will make you pay for that almost every time.
Oh, that was a winning return of serve, and Agassi is very much in the driver's seat. 2 big returns of serve, and he's got a 4-1 lead, and he'll serve 2.
Well, Andre had to get stretched out like crazy there, and he keeps his posture very well, which enables him to get the racket behind the ball. And he's not a big guy, but he stretches as well as anybody.
4-1. Missed it.
4-2 Agassi.
So a mini break point back for Wheaton. Players will change ends. Agassi leading 4-2. He'll serve another one.
Well, the first 3 points of the tiebreaker were dominated by serve. A couple aces in there, and then since then you've had 2 return winners and 1 return a serve that was just short of being a winner and forced an error. It's pretty good tennis.
Pretty high quality stuff.
I wish I would have had some of this yesterday.
Agassi.
Well, he loses 2 on his serve. As great a job as he did getting those 2 points off Wheaton's serve. We're back on serve now. Wheaton trailing 3-4, but serving. It's a brilliant point by both guys. It really was. That high backhand of Wheaton's a very tough shot to make. Agassi stayed right in it, did not make the mistake, and finally drew the error.
Wheaton tried to spike this one, but couldn't get it far enough away from Agassi. And right here, he loses his footing a bit. Tries to make the play, but he shanked it wide.
3-5.
5-4 Agassi.
Well, I think Andre really sensed his chance right there. Second serve at 3-5. If he wins that, he's got 2 points to serve for the match. And I think he rushed it a little bit. He's had good success just starting the point out and then waiting for his chance from there.
He misses it, and we're back on serve. It's 5-5.
5-all.
Another great return from Wheaton. It's one of the few balls you'll see Andre miss hit from the middle of the court.
As many points won against serve as there have been with serve, haven't there? In the tiebreak. Trying for the drop volley and misses it. Wheaton's got a match point.
6-5 Wheaton.
A little unsure of the volley there because, you know, he was hoping to get a winner off the approach shot.
I think he was a little tentative on the approach shot, and then it caused him not to be as close to the net as he would have liked to for that backhand volley.
Match point.
Oh. Thank you.
Could have gone either way. Shot under the
That's
tip.
great.
It was a great serve from Wheaton down the forehand side, and Agassi treated it contemptuously. It's 6-all. Players will change in.
So how do you like your broadcasting career so far, Todd?
Well, it's
pretty good match.
It's not so bad, yeah. If everyone could be 6 in the third, then I'd want to spend more time up here. We played doubles against Andre a couple nights ago, and we had 4 or 5 match points in the third set tiebreak as well. So we saw a few of those come back at us.
What a match, ending at 11:53 at night. 4 match points later.
It was a blast to play, that's for sure.
6-all here.
Ace.
7-6 Wheaton.
120-mile-an-hour ace, and Wheaton's got another match point.
That's only the third point Wheaton has won on serve. Agassi's only won 2 on serve, which says just how hard these guys are returning and challenging each other in this tiebreak.
Another ace.
His 5th.
7-all.
Wheaton looking at Richard Kaufman in the hope that he might get an overrule. No dice. 7-all.
Typical showman status right there. He's not to be outdone.
Took a long swing
8-7
at that
Agassi.
one and just hooked it off the frame.
That's David, I think, just let the anxiety get to him a little bit and didn't want to give Andre to hit the ball. Give Andre a chance to hit the ball.
It's wide in the match's history. Agassi's in the quarterfinal. Would you believe it? A great serve, great return of serve, and David Wheaton steers it wide.
That wasn't a bad little match.
That was terrific. Absolutely terrific tennis the whole way through.
Agassi will take on Sergi Bruguera, the top seed, in the next round of the Canadian Open. Todd, a big thank you to you for coming up here and helping us out.
Thanks for having me.
Pretty good stage of the match.
Yeah, it was exciting.
Interesting insights. We will gonna take a break and then After we come back, we will get an opportunity to talk to winner today, Andre Agassi. He will take on Sergio Bruguera in the next round, and he escaped, but just today. We'll be back. Agassi tiebreak in the third set, the most dramatic match, and that's an understatement of this championship so far in the singles anyway. Terrific performance by Andre Agassi, who's now in the quarterfinals of the Canadian Open to take on the top seed, Sergio Bruguera. His match with David Wheaton today in the tiebreak was especially critical, of course, for both players. Let's show you now the match point that David Wheaton had. First of all, before losing this tiebreak to Agassi. Here's match point.
Big, serve that Wheaton's got. You kind of like his chances, but he got passed cold from just a severely hit Agassi return in final tiebreak.
That kept Agassi alive. Now here is Wheaton serving again at match point. This time match point for Agassi, though. Agassi gets it down low, and Wheaton steers it wide. Match for Agassi. So we will be talking to the winner, Andre Agassi, today. Vitas Gerulaitis is standing by there. First of all, though, we're going to take a break. Hope you'll stay with us, everybody. Andre Agassi, once again, a winner today in a terrific match with David Wheaton. More live coverage from Toronto after this. Agassi over Wheaton. They've been waiting patiently now at courtside, so let's go down to him. Vitas.
Okay, I'm with the winner, Andre Agassi. It doesn't get any better than that. Was there anything about David Wheaton that surprised you? Because he played exceptionally well.
Gosh, I felt like he couldn't have played any better, and I don't know what I could have done better. I felt like I served well, returned well, moved well, came in well, put away the shots when I needed to. I think we both played exceptionally well. When he's serving that big, it's tough to get those breaks on him. And in the second set, I returned like exceptionally well to get ahead of him. But in the third, I played a great game to break him. He played a great game to break me back, and sometimes it's a little luck that makes a difference. And the tiebreaker, a little tight, but I got lucky, and sometimes that's what it takes,
Yeah, what was going through your mind at that tiebreaker? Like two heavyweight fighters, you guys are exchanging great winners, serves, back-to-back two aces. What's going through your mind when you're exchanging points like that?
Well, when it gets down to that part, all you got to say to yourself is, listen, I didn't come here to just kind of, make errors. I want to make good errors. If I'm going to miss the shot, I want to take good chances. And unlike me at 4-1, I didn't do that. So I was a bit disappointed with myself at 5-6-5, him serving. Second serve, I just say rip it. I was kind of like really frustrated. I let the lead slip away. But you just want to execute your shots and try to maintain the level that got you there.
I was sitting behind you on the court, especially at the last part of the tiebreaker. Is it a correct observation? It seems you're trying to force yourself to fight a little bit harder, to stay into the points. You seem to be on yourself a little bit more.
Well, I'm
concentrate a little bit harder. Is that correct?
Well, I think that's always been, if there's been a weakness of mine, it's definitely been that consistency. And one of the things that Brad's really been helping with is, come on, man, let's just stay at it. It's gonna come. And I feel like it is. It's starting to come around now. Now I'm executing my shots. I feel like I'm hitting winners anytime I set up for it. And I can't feel better about that. So now it's a mental challenge for me, and there are obstacles that this game has challenged me with for a few years now. So I'm really making steps towards getting over it, and hopefully come U.S. Open time, I'll be right where I want to be.
What was happening there in the tiebreak when Wheaton was serving for the match? Do you remember that point?
Oh, sure I do. He served a big serve out wide, and it was out by 6 feet, by 6 inches, and the crowd went nuts, but it was out. And then he took a second, and when he hesitated on that second serve, I said, well, maybe, he's going to throw one in here that I can really swing at, because I thought he was a little nervous. He put one right into my forehand pocket. I said, you got to swing at that, and took my chance and made it.
You made some terrific returns, as you mentioned. Wheaton's got one of the best serves in the game. What is it? Do you just see the ball a little bit quicker than the other guys? Because you prepare so quickly. Your racket's back before the ball's even over the net.
Well, I think seeing it is crucial, but also the ability to take down your backswing. I think a lot of guys that swing big, like a Sergio Bruguera, for example, tough for him to return well and do well like at Wimbledon, even though he surprised all of us this year because they take such big wind-ups. And I think, I have the ability to really cut down my backswing and just make good contact and pick it up early. And sometimes you can beat these guys not with pace, but just by taking it early, getting it under their feet and making a big server feel the pressure that the return is going to come low.
You play Sergio Bruguera in the next round. You've played him twice, beat him once, lost to him once. He's improved on all the surfaces also. You mentioned he did pretty well at Wimbledon, improved on this court. How do you see him playing him?
There's no question Clay's his best surface, but this guy can play well on anything. I mean, he runs well, hits well, backhand, forehand. He's starting to get a lot of free points off that first serve. You know, he sneaks in every now and then, has good hands like all those, you know, European clay quarters, you know. So the guy really does every aspect of the game well, and a few aspects of it exceptionally well. So he's a dogfighter, and it's going to be a dogfight, you know. I mean, we're both baseliners. We're going to have a lot of rallies, and I'm going to hope to come out on top.
To me, you're looking quicker, you're looking sharper this year. Is there any one specific goal that you're trying to attain this specific year?
Yeah, you know, it's a couple things. I really want to get my feet moving. I want to have that kind of enthusiasm that I think is when I'm playing my best tennis. And I also want to execute my shots. I mean, I think for maybe even going on a year now, I don't quite feel like guys were on their heels when I wound up for my forehand and my big shots, and now I feel like I'm starting to punish the ball and make them feel some pressure.
Well, I got to tell you, this is not work for me watching tennis like this. It's a crime for me getting paid. Cliff, I really enjoyed this. What a great match. Thank you, Andre.
Thanks very much.
Back up to you, Cliff.
Yeah, well, as Mary says, Vitas, you didn't work for 2 sets. What's the big deal? Well done. A good interview. Well done, Andre Agassi, a winner today. Barely, though. He wins it in the tiebreak of the third set against David Wheaton of the USA, who gave him everything that he expected and then some. Agassi will take on Bruguera, the top seed, in the quarterfinals of the Canadian Open. We'll be back with more after this.